to talk a little bit about my father this morning. He's been gone 26 years. He died when he was 74. I'm now 71. It kind of shakes you by your root, and you better live your life accordingly. My dad was an old German guy who grew up very German. It was his way or the highway. And I often give thanks that I wasn't gay when I was young. My dad would not have been able to accept this. And like many of that generation, if I was gay, I would have had to live a lie and get married, or I would have been ostracized and my father would never have spoken to me again. I would not have been allowed into the house. So I have a great deal of compassion for those people who still struggle with this and who have not been able to come out with their families, because that, especially in those days, that's the way it was. My dad had a very self-deprecating humor. My dad loved to laugh, and both of my parents loved to laugh, and I think that is a very positive trait to pass on to your children. When he died, I had a lot of mixed emotions, and I know I had a lot of regret and a little bit of anger inside me. 4 weeks earlier, we were home for their 50th anniversary, and at the airport in Milwaukee, I gave my dad a big hug, and his hands were down at his side, and you could see he was the most uncomfortable person in the airport. And that's my last memory I had of my dad. And when I was lamenting some of these thoughts and feelings to one of my uncles, he said, "You know, your dad loved you, right? His dad never hugged him, so why did you expect him to be able to hug you?" I said, "Yeah, but he never said the words, 'I love you.' But in all of his actions," my uncle said, "he showed you that he loved you." And so that's what I go forward with. The understanding that even though my dad wasn't perfect, he loved me deeply, and what more do you want? In the gospel reading, we have a very strange story. Okay, it's about the man who was possessed by demons. I don't believe that people are possessed by demons, but I do believe that was their understanding in those days. Now we have a different understanding, a psychological understanding of why people are the way that they are. And this man was suffering from some kind of mental illness, and Jesus healed him from this. And then the demons were cast. It says the demons asked that Jesus put them into the swineherd, and they went into the lake and they drowned. And obviously the people who owned the swine weren't very happy. But what is the point for us today? I think a lot of us don't have, maybe I wouldn't call it demons inside of us, but we have a restlessness inside of us. We have something inside of us that hasn't been healed from our childhood. And it would be interesting to know this man's childhood and why he was the way that he was. I can't cast out demons, because I don't believe in them, but I can help people who are suffering from these kinds of things. And the way I help them is to try to understand the person who caused the hurt and pain in your childhood. You can blow these things up. You can blow the experiences of your childhood up into something huge and magnanimous, something very destructive and powerful. Or you can learn to diminish those destructive things that happen. And you do that by understanding why the person was the way they were. Why they said the things the way they said them. Why they weren't able to be as compassionate as you needed them to be. It's interesting that at the end of the gospel reading, the people in the surrounding country of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them, for they were seized with great fear. It's interesting the word seized, because the word is also used in that the demons seized him. They were seized with fear. How many people act out on the fear that is deep in their core? How many people's anger towards their family members, toward their spouses, toward their children, comes from a fear that was instilled in them at a very young age? It's important for us to understand why our parents were the way they were, why our siblings were the way they were and maybe are the way they are today. It's important for us to understand, why do some people struggle with addictions? Why do some people go to the grave for their addictions and are unable to break out of these patterns? Maybe they had a very traumatic childhood. And if you go back one generation after the other, maybe you could see the patterns in your family of alcoholism, of addiction, of abuse, of people just going through very difficult times. I know that my grandparents and great-grandparents, they came through very, very difficult times. Some of you did, some of your parents did. And you can only wonder what it was like raising a family of 8 or 10 children, wondering where the next meal was going to come from, whether the crop was going to fail, whether people were going to survive different kinds of illnesses. Understand, find compassion, find forgiveness. These help to change my perspective on my childhood. And when you can do that, it changes the reality of your life. Amen. Day by day, your mercies, Lord, and me, bringing